Let us have our seats. Thank you very much, our vicar, Reverend Andrew, Reverend Jane, candidates 2020-2021, that is how we are addressing them. Potential candidates, class 7, because I'm told they are here, grade 4, our parents, the congregation, Bwana asifiwe. I'm not sure I heard your response. Bwana asifiwe. Now I am sure. I've decided also to lower my mask completely so that you can see my beauty. I am here to speak to candidates and the congregation in general. But before that, I would like to thank our vicar for giving me the opportunity. When he called me a few weeks ago and requested me to join you in this auspicious occasion of wishing candidates all the best in the forthcoming exam, I felt honored, and it reminded me of my standard 7 days because I belong to the old school. I remembered that we did not have this kind of session before the exam. All I remember I had was a small piece of sweet potato. That's what we were given as a way of telling you success. That when you ate that one that morning, not to your satisfaction, but a small piece, it would give you success. Research through me has shown that it does not work that way because I failed dismally. It doesn't. I am sure I am not alone in this. How many people had a sweet potato, Kagutha, that morning? Yes, I know. Can you see, Vicar? Yes, I can see my cohort is around. It doesn't work that way. It's about hard work. It doesn't work because I failed and I repeated. When I repeated, I still had my peace. I still had my peace the second year, and I still failed. It's unfortunate we are going to suffer, but someone is working on it. So in short, as I join the class 8 in wishing them all the best, it reminds me of those days with nostalgia. I want to take this opportunity to thank the board for Thika Memorial, through the chair, through the head teacher, who is obviously the secretary, for having such a huge institution and holding it in one piece. That is not an easy task. That's not an easy task. I hope I have not contributed to the problem. Unajua kuna watu wanadamu inasumbua TV. I don't know whether you went through also some of these things. Ukipitia hapo TV inapotea. So I hope my blood is proper and can reason it well with the machines. So as quickly as possible, we are saying, may the technicalities be taken care of so that we can communicate. I know I am not loud enough to be heard at the back. For those who can still hear, the head teacher, no, not the head teacher, but the chair of the board, has asked, where are the boys? Where are the boys? I also noted when they came for presentation that the girls are far much more. And then incidentally, the teaching staff is equally the same. So it is, I think, the same thing in the teaching service, I mean in the teaching staff and in the student body. Probably we require more men as teachers to lure more boys to join us at Thika Memorial Church School I am a father of boys. I have 3 men in my house. Although now they are not in the house, I've already chased them away because that is how it should work. I was also chased. That's why I'm in Thika. My firstborn is one of those boys who went through rites of passage 18 years ago, which the vicar has just mentioned. So you can imagine if he was in class 8 around 14 years plus 18, he is now 32 and he's married. I am a grandfather of 2. So I am a witness that rites of passage through A.C.K, because even the rest of the other 2 men went through the same, is very well organized. I am not here to blow its trumpet, but I have no regrets even if I did so. So it is important that we take care of the boys. I also happen to be a teacher and a chief principal in a high school. Our school is a boys' school with a similar population like Thika Memorial, 1,000 boys, very many of them. I wish the boys that I've seen here will also join us at Kamuiru Boys High School in Kirinyaga County. I think I also need to identify myself fully by introducing myself as such, because I have my pride. To cut a long story short, when I was told to choose the readings, I chose the 2 readings that were done here by our candidates. 1 Samuel 30, 1 to 8, and Deuteronomy 28, 1 to 2. The first one, my interest was in the very last verse, where David was asking God, should I pursue them? Will I overtake? And God told him, pursue, and you will overtake and rescue your people. So today, I thought my theme would be pursue and overtake. That's my theme of my brief presentation. I also told the vicar I am not a preacher. I am not a theologian. In fact, as I sit here, I am scared by some of these things. So as I sat, my heart was thumping when I have not seen this kind of thing very close to me. But now it is. I wish I could be allowed to push kidogo so that I can be comfortable. Teachers, we are not used to this kind of scenario. And the cross is just here, and then there is another one there. I thought one would be enough because they look alike. So I want us to talk about pursue and overtake. And the second reading is about being obedient, following God's commandments, and then going away with blessings accompanying you. So class 8, if I use my own story, if I shall use my own story, I started by saying I failed in class 7 twice. And therefore, the first time I did, some people passed and they went into Form 1. And they continued pursuing. So when I repeated, I was to join them when they were in Form 2. And I failed again. And therefore, this time round, I looked for a school through my parents to join Form 1. So those ones who went before me, who were my classmates, of course completed Form 4 before me by 1 year. I want to say this, after Form 4, I passed. Though not very well, but I passed to join Form 5. Some of them failed, and therefore, as I pursued them, I overtook them after my Form 4, when they had failed. From there, I joined Form 5 and Form 6. And those of us who remember those systems, before I joined Form 5,
I stayed for 1 year outside. After Form 4, I stayed for 1 year. I worked in a coffee factory because I had not performed very well to qualify to be admitted to a government high school to join Form 5. And therefore, because of that, as I was asking myself what I should do, I found myself in a coffee factory in our village. I was working with people who had failed. Those who know the system, I had a division 2 of 28 points. It did not make me become eligible to join the A level. So later, after 1 year, after suffering, I decided to go back to school. And therefore, I joined a school which is right here in Thika. It was a private school called Equator High School. Thank you, God bless you. At least I will be heard. I hope you have heard everything that I had said before. So I joined Equator High School the following year, and out of 180 candidates in Form 6, only 3 passed the exam. I overtook some in Form 4, who were my classmates in primary school and secondary, and this time round I overtook others in Form 6 because I qualified to join university. Only 3 persons passed. It's unfortunate, but God's will. That's the 3 of us who joined the universities. Only one is alive today, the speaker of the day. I don't want to say I overtook them again. Pursue and overtake. One of them is the late Dr. Eustace Kethumbu Njagi, who died last year of COVID-19. The other one is the late Senator of Machakos, Boniface Kabaka, who also had a PhD. I overtook all the rest, including those 2. And God is here to bless me again so that I can speak to you. And I could not go before this particular function. Can you organize as many functions and invite us so that we can keep living? Because when you have targets, then you keep working towards the target. I'm not saying those friends of mine, may God rest their souls in eternal peace, that they had no targets. But my targets were different. Mine were God ordained. I want to say that even after joining the university, after the first degree, I decided also to pursue and overtake. So I still pursued and overtook some of my first degree classmates. And I took a second one. And later, I also took a third one. Pursuing and overtaking. That is the message that I wanted to share with the class 8. That you have pursued, you are pursuing now. And in a few days, you'll be sitting for KCPE, which we believe you must pass. Once you pass, you pursue secondary school education, and then pursue university and other colleges, and keep pursuing and overtaking. The question is, how do you overtake? Whom are you overtaking? That is very critical. For every success in a child, there will be several players who will assist the candidate to keep pursuing. The very first player is called the parent. The parent is here. I hope and pray that and trust that all parents of class 8 and guardians are here. You can imagine if your child is seated here and you failed or refused to come, to give this support. The ministry of presence, just sitting here and listening to what we are telling your son or daughter, just sitting, you came together and you will go home together. That in itself is sufficient warmth. I have never delegated issues of my own children. 3 children through high school and any other function. I only missed one because I was not in Kenya. It's also good for you to know sometimes I go out of the country. That's the only time I missed. Once. Maybe you think I only know Kerwara. I know a few other places. But I was in Uganda. Wacha niache Maringo. I was in Kampala. It's our neighbor. But that is overseas, is it? There is Lake Victoria between us and them. So that is overseas. It's very important. One major player in the life and growth and development of a child, particularly a candidate today, is the parent. The questions I want to ask a parent that I call a brave thinking tool. As a parent, do you have a brave thinking tool? One, were you once a child? Because sometimes as parents, we portray a picture like we have been parents throughout our lives, which is a wrong display. We pretend that we have been big and authoritative since we were born. So just ask yourself, when was I a child? Question number 2 in the brave thinking tool. Have I grown? Have I grown up, not big? Have I grown so that I can be different and probably offer inspiration and hope to my child? Is the child in me grown? Are there some things that I do that are childish in front of my child and probably give excuses? Brave thinking tool. It's good to appreciate that this is a child and you are the parent, but you are also once a child. And it is good to know that as a child, there are challenges that we go through. The boys, as they presented here, you can hear their voices have broken. Sasa ni wazee. After this exam, they will sit for another one. Immediately, that the vicar has mentioned, the rite of passage. They will sit for another one. This one will take 3 days. The 4th day is the rehearsal, the first one. The other one will take a few minutes. Just a few minutes. You lie there and somebody comes with all of the axes and pangas, all of them. Because you must go through this right. We also went through it. And without scaring you, I want to confirm, I want to submit to us that nobody here would like to go through it again. God was so faithful, he gave it to us once. You can imagine if there was one after class 8, another one after Form 4, another one after the university, another one before marriage. I believe all men would still be candidates, waiting. So becoming a man is a process. So we want to wish these young men all the best in these examinations. The other player who will be very important in the life of the child to make them or facilitate their pursuing and their overtaking is the teacher. The teachers who are here. Female teachers are very motherly. I am told by the vicar, ECD, all the teachers are female. Even my ECD teacher was female. God gave them that gift. He gave them that gift, and may they do their best. Teachers play a great role. They get this child from the parent, and then they model, they teach, they give manners, they do all sorts of things for the sake of the growth and development of the child. Teachers are forced by circumstances to be examples. Teachers must dress in a particular way for them to remain relevant to the child, to be the best example. Teachers are forced to use a certain language. Teachers will have limitations in which places to visit, when, even to interact with who. Because a teacher will not just relieve themselves anywhere because of fear of, should my pupil pass by? One, that information will spread the whole school. That's number one. Number two, it will be very embarrassing. It's not a very good example. So teachers are forced to be what they are because of their responsibility. We can only request the teachers here to use all that is in their capacity to make these children and these students, pupils and candidates, pursue and overtake. Appreciate the children, they have different learning abilities, and therefore give them that platform that will make them do their best in the circumstances. There are students or pupils who will understand properly through seeing. They must see as they learn. We call them visuals. They must see. Allow them to see. So a teacher, once you bring something, they will tell you, may I see? May I see? That is their way of learning. Allow them. Others who must hear. So they will tell you, we are not hearing. I am not hearing. They are called auditory. They are supposed to hear the teacher. So teachers must be audible enough. And because I'm teaching today, I was frustrated when my microphone could not work. I want to be heard, auditory. That is why some children in class will talk so much, because they are auditory. That's why some of you can do their studies in a room with a radio and a TV, and people are still having their stories, and you are still concentrating, because you are auditory. You can hear, you can listen as you concentrate. People who want to do their preps with some background music, they are auditory. So teachers, don't always punish people because they are talking. It's not noise. That is who they are. They must do their things in that background. I am making myself popular and relevant to these people. I am not stupid. I know they are more than the teachers. So if there were to be votes, you are sure I will be the next governor for Thika Memorial County. Not all children make noise. Even now, those who are talking, allow them to talk. That's how they learn. And the third kind of learner that we have in class, which teachers must appreciate, are those who must do things using their hands. So they will touch things, and they will touch them. Even at home, you bring a new phone or a new TV, they will touch, they will open, and we call them kinesthetics. They must touch. So in high school, when you present some practical and you give them apparatus, before the teacher gives them instructions, the kinesthetics have already started handling them. So you keep telling them, stop, stop. That's how they learn. So can we give, that's why I was asking as parents, incidentally teachers are also parents, have we grown? Has the child in us grown? This is two-way. Let the child in you grow so that you can be a responsible parent. But let the child in you also be alive in you so that you can appreciate a child. I still remember my mother was too overgrown up, and it was a problem to us. Because my father would come once in a month on a Friday, and he will go back on Sunday. So he comes with 2, 3, 4 breads. We had tasted bread 30 days ago when he was there. And he arrives around 3 in the evening or 4. And then you are given 4 breads to take to the cupboard so that you can eat tomorrow with the tea in the morning. Sasa huo ni utu uzima, ni uzuri, but you have waited for this bread for 30 days. Now it has come, and now she tells you to wait another several hours. Na sio yeye amenunua. Then the funniest bit was, that morning comes. Of course, you did not sleep comfortably, because we would open the cupboard sometime in the evening. You look at the breads and thank God that you have a father. Then in the morning, she gives you your piece and your cup of tea. Then we would take tea dry, finish all the tea. When your piece is there, resting, then you pick your piece. because you don't want to feel anything else in the mouth apart from bread, which you had waited for 30 days. And therefore, did my mother achieve her objective of waiting for tea in the morning? Because the child in her had grown, and she refused that the other child remains alive in you, so that you can understand a child. Ukipika chapati, mtoto chapati ya kwanza, mpe. Don't have very strict rules because you are the parent. Watoto tuko pamoja. So today when I visit people myself and I have some snacks, once I arrive, it's only that you have COVID, you must force them to clean their hands. But if before COVID, let them eat the way they are. Let them feed, and as they wait for meat, meat is always number 2. Let these ngano things become number 1, because that is the child in me that I have not suppressed. So let that child be alive. So the teacher sets the climate for every school. The teacher will make things work, will facilitate everything, because a teacher is the second helper after God in terms of the growth of a child, to make them pursue and overtake. The other player is called the government. The government of Kenya takes education very seriously, and in its budget, the highest chunk goes into the education sector. In terms of salaries for teachers and facilities and equipment, examination fees for candidates, it is very important to appreciate the government as a player in assisting a child to pursue and overtake. So the government has made sure, actually of late it is using a multi-sectoral approach, where it's not only the Ministry of Education, it is now even the Ministry of Interior, there is the Teacher Service Commission. All these people are supposed to play, and also the Ministry of ICT, a central role. For example, soon the examinations will start. Those 3 main ministries will be in charge of running the examinations: ICT, Interior, and the Ministry of Education. So the government has said UPE, Universal Primary Education, which has a connotation of compulsory. You must be in school. So in their reforms, in their research, they have said in their sessional paper that every child must go to school. If not, then the local chief, the assistant chief, will confirm this. And I think you know that they ensure that all of us are in school. And after class 8, all of us must transit to Form 1, irrespective of our scores. It is called 100% transition. When they are sitting for the exam, the government paid for the examination fee for all candidates in Kenya, class 8 and Form 4. That is a huge investment, because the government talks of 3 things: access, retention, and completion. Now they have added something else: equity, quality, and relevance. So the government insists that you go to school. Now after school you can go to a polytechnic, you can go to a university, you will have your fees paid. Not in full, but much of it through the help. Learners are being facilitated to be in school by the government. And the government has its objectives. In the national goals of education, one of them is to ensure 100%. Those are players: parents, teachers, and the government. The other player in this arena is the student, the candidate, for example. The candidate is a player in their own game, because there is where the first 3, the parent and the teacher and the government, can take you. They can take you up to a certain stage, after which the rest is your work. So when KCPE starts, we shall make sure there is a huge gap between the candidate and the next one, so that you produce your own honest work, yourself. In case one is in hospital, God forbid, the examination will be done in hospital by you as a patient. If one becomes an inmate, you find yourself in a police cell, your examination will be done there by you as an inmate, because that is your personal responsibility. So you are equally a player in this game, in that arena. That time your parent will be far away, the government will ensure you are at peace, and the teacher will also be very far away, far away. So can you take advantage of these players now that they are easily accessible before the examination? So can you produce your own work and just wear the full armor of God, and God will take you through the process of the examination. It's also good to know that there are other players. Call them minor or major, but we also have our friends, we have family, we have relatives. They are also interested in our examination. They will send you success cards, they will pray for you, and when the results are out, they will be interested in how you performed. Those are players. And to crown the players, it's also good to know enemies. Our enemies are also players. Because some may not be happy when you score 418. Those are our enemies, and we must learn to live with them. Probably when you imagine enemies, we sometimes don't remember we could be enemies ourselves. You could be the enemy of your neighbor, and your neighbor is your enemy. So don't see enemies out there. See yourself. Am I one? Am I happy with the progress of some people once they succeed? What will education do after all that game is over? Education is going to set you free. Emancipation. Education will set you free. It will give you tolerance and resilience. Education makes you, we say, when you clean your hands, you will dine with the kings. It is education that has made me sit with the vicar here. It is. Because when I look at those who dropped out that I overtook in primary school, I always define myself as, that is me minus education. When I see them dirty and maybe drunk, and they are borrowing you 50 shillings. 50 shillings. A man of over 50 years is asking for 50 shillings. Then you don't understand. So I always see myself as that without education. Therefore, education will crown you, will make you shine, and you will sit with the kings. That is why I can confidently stand in front of you and speak. That is the whole difference. So girls and boys, tomorrow, because your tomorrow is brighter than your today, this is what will happen. So you can go to every part of the world, you can command respect, and you will be recognized because of your credentials. What else will education do? Education will provide you with your basic needs, food, clothing, and shelter. It's good to appreciate that through education, we shall not be poor in the mind and even in the pocket, because we can earn either through business or employment, whatever it is, through discovery, through research. There is so much we can do with education. So all the time, the essence of pursuing and overtaking will remain relevant in our lives. Education will make us be examples to others, and we shall speak with authority before them. So today I came, and I'm happy to be the high priest to preside over this one, to encourage at least one. The last time I stood at the Thika Memorial Church, we still had a function like this one, which was done inside the church hall because the population was not high. That is so many years ago. so many years ago. We had class 8, and I was the speaker of the day. Since then, I have not come for this. I have come again now. If I try to remember, that was in 2011. 2011. And that time, I only had a master's degree. And it is in that church that I declared I will pursue and overtake others. Now today, I am here confidently saying that I did it. I did it. Pursuing and overtaking. Confidence levels. Let us give our children confidence and let us raise their esteem. Let us raise their esteem. Let us not make negative statements in front of them. Personally, I have suffered that, and therefore I know the pain one goes through. The pain one goes through. I am a third born in a family of 6. But when I was growing up, I was a nobody. Today, my mother will not do anything before consulting me. Even my 2 elder brothers will not do much before consulting me. I have become a home consultant, domestic. But I have never forgotten that when I passed in Form 6 and I shared with them that I have passed, nobody was excited. Nobody. Reason, they had failed. Nobody. I thought I would excite them. You know, those days there was no phone to send results. So I traveled all the way to Thika to pick my results. I realized I have passed. I was praying, Gari Kibie, I go and share this great news. Only to arrive home and find people there and tell them I have passed. Then they say, okay. So parents, esteem. Let us give students, learners, esteem. My esteem was so low when I was growing up. And one reason that I like sharing why my esteem was low, that in the family of 6, I am, let me use this word, the most brown person. The most brown. So I'm the darkest. All the others are brown. My father was like a mzungu. So every time there was introduction to guests, huyu anaitwa, tunaambiwa karai muri akuru. Vile mmezaliwa, sasa niko hapa number 3. Huyu anaitwa. Tukimalizia tu, someone asks, oh no, you know why? And people would laugh the way you are now laughing. So you are not different from those people. And I would also laugh. Later I stopped laughing. I started also questioning myself. And I realized there is something wrong which I could not tell. And therefore I decided to bottle up. I stopped talking, I stopped singing, I stopped answering questions in school, even when I knew the answer. So sometimes I would be punished when you are told to demonstrate something and then you do it correctly and you had not raised your hand. So esteem. And at times I would attempt to say something and then I would be told, Kira, so you shut up. I hope parents here don't do that. Finally, so that I sit down. One day, somebody donated shirts to us. Shirts. Among the shirts that came from our uncle, one was long-sleeved. I admired long-sleeved shirts because my father would wear them. So I was praying the day that I will have a long-sleeved shirt. I will thank God. Actually, today I don't have short-sleeved. It impacted on me. I don't have. And therefore, this time the shirts were dropped there from the bag, and by good luck, I picked the long-sleeved. It was only one, and I could not believe it. When my other brothers noted theirs are short-sleeved, the brother who is older than me grabbed mine and threw the one he was holding to me. And therefore, I ended up having a short-sleeved shirt. I cried. I reported that to my mother. She told him to give me my shirt. He refused. He was adamant. I kept on crying, and then my mother, whom I thought would rescue, told me, "One othi juru." So I did not wear that shirt. I just kept it, and therefore today I can buy them. So it is about esteem. I did not love my mother that day because I thought she would intervene. So parents, let us give support to our children because this is what they need. Recognize them and recognize them positively. That way, these kids will become the best. When I say that it is the responsibility of the student, there was this boy who visited a soothsayer. A soothsayer is one who can tell you how your future will be. And this boy visits a soothsayer to be told whether his life will be good or bad. The soothsayer draws two circles on the ground. One is white and the other one is black. In between the two circles, probably 1 or 2 meters apart, the soothsayer places a millipede between the two circles, equidistant, so it is in the middle. And the boy stands there and is told, of course, when you hold a millipede, it coils itself, it doesn't move. Then it is placed in the middle of the two circles. And he is told, if this millipede starts moving and goes towards the white circle, then your life will be bright. If it moves towards or gets into the black circle, then your life will be doomed. And therefore, you step aside and we give the millipede that decision. So the millipede, after realizing it's not being interrupted, it uncoils and starts moving. Fortunately, it started moving towards the white circle. It moved slowly towards the white circle, and the boy was smiling. But just before it entered into the white circle, it turned. It turned, it increased its speed towards the black circle. And the boy is watching. But just before it entered into the black circle, because it was determined, he picked it with his hands. It coiled again, held it, and walked towards the white circle and placed it in the middle of the white circle. And the soothsayer was not happy and asked, why? Nobody has ever done that here. And this is the $1 million statement that the boy gave, that I cannot stand here and watch my life getting to doom, then do nothing about it. Praise the Lord. I cannot stand here, watch my life getting into doom, and do nothing about it. The message is clear. It is your personal responsibility. Your life is in your hands. Your life is in your hands. So take care of it. When we get to high school, because we shall get there, I think in July, we are going to find another new environment. A new environment. Let us be ready to adapt. Take care of ourselves. And I like the way these pupils are following instructions from teachers. But when we get there, sometimes we start getting defiant. So never allow groupthink to get into your mind. Always be yourself. Never allow emotions to hijack your behavior. It is very good when you get there to keep looking at your prize. Keep off obstacles and look at your prize. Once your prize is there, work towards it.